right, let's go.
Let's do it, man.
Hard work pays off. Let's get it.
Hard work pays off.
Woo!
Come on, Nancy. This is yours for the first time.
It's can't even fathom it. It's a dream come true, man. All because of Troy, my wife. She's a great team as well. You gotta have a good team. So we had a good team through this whole process. Unreal. Home sweet home.
So I mean, you didn't even think you were gonna get a home, let alone get it in less than 30 days.
Yeah, it all happened so quick. I mean, my wife was we're actually watching videos with Min.
Right.
And then she DM'd Min one day, and he got right back to us. Got in touch with you guys, and then through our loan processor, and we got the ball rolling, and boom, here I am.
Wow.
I mean, the only advice I give first-time home buyers: don't be scared. Just go for it. Just go for it, because dreams do come true. Look at this. Just go for it. Don't be scared.
That's awesome.
Hello, welcome to Tuesday Night Live. Welcome to the House Heroes and What's a Mortgage. We're excited to have some hot topics for you guys. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m., we go live here on Facebook, constantly on Instagram with things that we see in the field, real estate tips, the 5 things. Definitely make sure you guys are checking in on our Instagram as well. On Thursday night, we go live in Espanol, 8 p.m. And then on Friday, we've got 2 o'clock with Deal of the Week. So make sure you guys like us and subscribe so that you guys get updates when we go live with all of our new content. Plus, we post the weekly market update on Fridays at 8 p.m. That's not live. We post it, and it's also on our YouTube. So feel free to check us out on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you are. Pinterest will be there, and we're going to be bringing you more and more content as we go. So, Troy, tell me about what we got going on tonight.
Hey guys, how's everyone going out there? I'm sure on a Tuesday night there's a lot going on. We want to bring you some good content. Tonight's topic is how to get your offer accepted in a seller's market. So before we get into that, we'll go over the news, but we're very interactive here. Guys, say hello to us. Go on and comment hello. Any questions you have, we're more than happy to answer for you. As we've talked about, I don't care if you're looking for a refi or you want to buy a home, but you don't know where to start, you don't know where to finish, you don't know how to get to that point, that journey that you want to be on. Absolutely, we can help you start there on either side, on the mortgage side as well as the real estate side. So there's just, as we know out there, we're hearing just all kinds of crazy news. News is all over the place. I mean, we basically are being, force-fed what the media wants to hear from us. But we want to bring you the actual facts. And we say this every single week. And every single Friday we do a market update. We want to give you that information, that true information, the information that we see on the ground and not in some high-rise, and making guesses and estimates and calling myself an economic, analyst.
Yes.
I'm not that. I'm a guy who phone rings, I'm on the ground, I'm answering the phone, I'm talking to my clients, I'm putting offers in, I'm seeing how hot the market really is or how cold the market is. I hear from both sides either way. Guys, we're here to give you the truth. So Ryan, let's start this off, man. What is in the news? What are the highlights in the news? I know so much going on, but what is highlights?
There's a lot going on. As new loan programs are rolling out. We've got different changes to lending, but it's Groundhog Day over here. It's just sales of new homes spiking in May on low rates. It's low inventory. It's, increased demand. And I feel like we're redundant because we keep bringing you a lot of the same headlines, but that's the truth. We've been saying it for months. People didn't believe it. We got heckled here on Facebook. Oh, and what about the jobs? And nobody's paying rent. And, we would literally go out and show them articles. Here's the actual numbers. Here's the facts. So we've been trying to bring a little bit to you every Tuesday. And then on the weekly market update, we just stack it with a ton of facts and figures. So definitely go on and check those out for the last, few weeks, couple months, if you're interested. But I mean, this kind of boils it all down. So the Mortgage Bankers Association just came out this last week. And what I wanted to pick out of this, they're talking about where they expect housing starts to be, for this year, which is low. It's about 200,000 less homes being built, housing starts per quarter this year versus last year. And they don't expect it to ramp up until early, I guess, second quarter of next year. So just think about that. We've been at about a 300,000 home shortage, per year. It's been growing, and now they're talking about 200,000 less new home starts every quarter for the next 5 quarters or so. So that's one number I pulled out of here, and then the other one is just interest rates. They're low, and look at this, they continue to stay low. So Gray's past quarters, this quarter one they had average 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.5. Quarter 2, 3.3, which we're almost over. And then they expect it staying low, 3.4, 3.3 into next year. So that just keeps the fuel on the fire with low rates. And then homes for sale. So we keep flipping it, low inventory, low rates, and high demand. And this is what you get. So inventory of homes for sale year over year. This is 2020, May of 2020. There are 31.7% less homes in this local MLS's predominant area, which is County. You've got on top of that new listings. It's not coming to help. There hasn't been a flood of new homes in the market. Again, new home listings were down 34%. So we were already down 31% in inventory, and we just had 34 less listings go on, 34% less listings go on. And what does that get us? It gets us a dropping supply of inventory. So right now we dropped, from this time last year, there was about 3.4 months of inventory. So if no new homes went on last month, it took 3.4 months to sell out everything on the market. We are down to 2.6. That's almost a full month less of inventory if no new homes got added to the market. That is absolutely insanely low. It's historically low, and that's what's causing the problem. That's here locally. Then you look at nationwide on an average. National Association Realtor has been tracking it by month, and this is a housing supply. It is completely dropped, as we've talked about. That's over the last 12 months for the entire nation as a whole. Again, mortgage lending will surge to a 14-year high. So they're tracking how many people are taking out, first mortgage loan applications. This is for a house. It's not a refinance. It's at a 14-year high. I know we covered a lot of those numbers last week. And one of the things people have been asking us, oh yeah, but I hear nobody's paying their rents. What about that? Well, here's the numbers. This is coming from 5 of the top software companies that track rents for, these are software companies. So like if you're a huge, apartment complex, you're using one of these 5 softwares. It's like a 90% chance you're using one of these 5 here. So this is tracking 11.5 million apartments in April, May, and June. So here are the April and May numbers. So you look at 2019, in April, 97.7% of people paid their rent. This year, 94.6. It wasn't this double-digit drop that a lot of people are talking about. And then you go to May, 96.6, dropping to 95. So you had a 3% drop. It ended up being at about a 1.5% drop. Where does that leave us now? We're 3/4 of the way through June here, and this is the number. So at this time last year, they're tracking it by week. So the week ending the 6th, the 13th, the 20th. So for June 20th, 2019, there were 92.2% of people had paid their rent. This year, June, 92.2% of people paid their rent. So this just shows that the economic stimulus has helped. People going back to work, it's helped. They're paying their rent and that roof over their head. And so we're just excited to get back to a little bit of normalcy. rumors are we might get a 60-year, or a 60 game baseball season this year. And then we saw this news flash across. This is local here. So Angels are unveiling plans for homes, offices, and better fan experience with new stadium development. They took over the lease, and now they actually own all that land there, and they're able to develop it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what type of experience that comes. I know Troy's showing a lot of homes over there in the stadium lofts. We've done a lot of deals there. In the Platinum Triangle there, a lot of what they're building are apartments. That's one thing you guys need to remember. Where's the smart money going? Where's the big money going? Not always even smart, but where's the big money? They are building apartments. They're building luxury apartments. They're building high-rise apartments, and they're building stuff where they think there's going to be a high walk score, right? And these areas, there's very few developments where you can actually buy and own your home. So that is going to actually just put a lot of pressure on those prices for homes who want to have that asset and build their wealth. So this is going to be a fun one to watch. I know we've been over there as they've been leveling, the industrial complex. Our gym got leveled at one point in time. We sold a lot of units in the one building that really you can buy in, and we've been watching a lot of the apartments go up. So this is going to be a fun thing to develop now that they get actually into the stadium central land. So hopefully you guys are watching some good development around you and seeing a lot more of the big and smart going into as well. So, all right, Troy, would you put together for us today on how to get your offer accepted in the seller's market?
So, right now, obviously we've gone over that it's a seller's market. We all agree upon it. What's happening is that it's significantly different than if I go back to 08, 07. It's because we have a housing shortage. And that's the first thing I tell my clients all the time. There's a housing shortage. So what's happening is not only are you having a severe amount of, resale homes that are not on the market, but what is good though is that you have new builders out there and they're building like crazy. And they're trying to get homes up all the time. I know that the majority of new home builders that I've gone to, and you really, if you go on Lennar's website and you just hit Southern California, you're like, it's just dotted full of all these new communities that are out there. Yeah. And then you start going to them, and you're definitely finding out that, if I put down a deposit, my home won't be built till November, December, January 2021. It's that kind of crazy. There's just no standing inventory. And so, but that actually is fueling the fire and having this great housing market. I've said it before. I said it a couple months ago. What's going to bring us out of this COVID-19 depression, recession, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the housing market.
Yep.
We're just not seeing your millennials, and you guys out there, here, go ahead and say it. If you feel that you're just not that intimidated by COVID-19, guys, put in the comments how you're feeling it out there, because I know that that you have a big uprising right now with the governor mandating masks, and now you have this whole underlying current on social media that nobody wants to wear masks, right? We're just seeing amount of people being tested going up, and we're seeing people that there's a lot more positives, but there's just not a lot of people. The death rate, the mortality rate is not there. That's showing. It's actually been going down, and more down. So with all that being said, is that you just have this crazy frenzy going on. How do I get my offer accepted in a seller's market?
Well, I'll answer that. You just listen to your agent. We'll keep it short tonight. Bye, guys.
So the first thing that a lot of people think about is, I just got to offer the world. Right, I got to go crazy number over the asking price, and that's going to get me the house. And absolutely, that is not the case. And I'll call it 90% of the time. Yep. There's a lot more going on. It's that it's the purchase agreement of being above asking offer. It's just not the same every single time. Ryan, hit the next slide. Above asking offer, right? What people are looking for, there's a few things people are looking for as a seller's agent, right? So if I'm representing the seller, I want to see a few things. The biggest no-no out there is asking for closing costs. And I know some of you out there like, I got to have closing costs. I don't have a down payment and I have closing costs. Well, guys, let's take a look at this. If you're in a situation where there is 7, 8 different offers, believe me, they make 2 stacks. The stack with no closing costs here, and the stack with closing costs. And the stack with closing costs are your also rans. They shove it to the side. They don't want to see that. The stack that asks for no closing costs means people have money. That's a big plus, because when you want to sell a home in a rising market, the appraisal is one of the most important things and hurdles that a seller's agent has to get past, because he's going to accept an offer that's over asking, and it's pretty much over the last comp that was in there that appraised. So you have to take that in consideration.
Yeah, values are getting pushed up. And so if somebody's getting a loan, and let's be honest, we're not in an all cash market like we were, a couple years ago, where every time you'd put in and you'd be up against multiple offers, there was a cash offer coming out of the woodwork. We've seen a couple, pop up here recently, but it's not on every home that we're seeing a cash offer in there. So if you're getting financing, you're going to need an appraisal. In an increasing market like we're in now, those values are getting pushed, and appraisers are always behind. They're late to the party. So a listing agent is worried that the property is not going to appraise at the contract price. To alleviate that fear, what they want to see is that the buyer has money to put down.
Right.
So if you're asking for closing costs, Troy's right, you're in an also-ran pile. I just put in an offer asking for closing costs for a client, and I had that conversation. Hey, look, it looks weak. I'd prefer not to, ask for it. Ran comps. I saw we weren't in a problem. Talked to the agent. Their other offers were low. Looked like we had a really good shot. I said, hey, look, we're willing to give you full price, but we want to get some closing costs. Can we stack them? She basically told me the seller just doesn't want to pay closing costs. That's it.
Yeah.
So, just keep that in mind when you're out there. See if you can get gift funds. See if you can get some other way to get those closing costs. Lender credits. There's other ways to take a higher rate, and we're talking about rates being low for a very long time. So you might be in a good opportunity to take a higher rate, get a lender credit to help with your closing costs, and then plan on refinancing later.
Right. I mean, and that's true. Those are the things it's all about motivation, right?
Yep.
If we look at a buyer out there and we talk about you need closing costs, then we have to make that decision on what type of home we're going to get. If it's going to be a home that's been beat up a little bit more, there's less competition. Those are the homes that that closing costs are associated with. But I had 4 different clients this last weekend. One of the agents, listing agents, said straight out, we will not accept an offer with closing costs. Do not even write it. If you write it, you're wasting your time. And she came back to me and she said to me, I got, out of the 5 offers I received in the 2 days I showed it, 2 of them had closing costs, and literally the seller rejected it on the spot, like just rejected it next. So yeah, that's just something with closing costs. We're gonna keep reiterating that. The next thing is lower or no contingencies. Let's be very honest, right? We're competing with each other out there, and cash is king. And we know that anything beyond cash is going to be a loan. And so I need to have an agent that's on top of my contingency period. As you guys all know, there's 3 different contingencies out there. There is inspection contingency, appraisal contingency number 2, and number 3 is loan contingency. I have to get those numbers down. I can't get 17 days for inspections. The seller wants the inspection to be done immediately, because if there's an issue with the inspection and we're going to drop out, they want to go right on to the next offer or put it right back on the market. And God knows that if I put that home back on the market, they're literally week to week, it could have gone up 1% on me right there. And I could have another crazy buyer come in. The second contingency, which people are now wiping out, is appraisal contingencies. If you have an offer out there and you actually have an appraisal contingency, be prepared for the seller to eliminate it. And the only way that you're going to compete is if you have money. Not only do you have money to put down as a down payment, but you got to have money for the closing costs, and you got to have money for the shortage of the appraisal. This is the new trend. It's becoming to this point where the market's this hot, where if the appraisal doesn't come in and your agent goes back and asks for the purchase price to be lower to the appraised value, that particular agent who's smart just looks up comps in the neighborhood again, the listing agent, and goes, oh, there's a new high comp that just closed the other day. I'm blowing you out, and I'm going to put it right back on the market, and I'm going after a much higher price for my client.
Yep.
You know, so
and we're seeing, on the appraisal contingency itself, just had a client, we were bottom, kind of bottom fishing as Troy was talking about, and also ran, just giving it our best effort. And we got blown out by somebody who put 60% down. They removed their inspection contingency. They removed their loan contingency, removed their appraisal contingency. They went same
Gone.
as cash. Done.
Right.
Gone. Like, I can't even compete with that. You can play some tricks where you say, okay, we're going to remove our inspection contingency. We're going to remove our appraisal contingency. But my clients needed that loan contingency. And so, you can remove your appraisal contingency, especially if you already know that you're going to be bringing in cash. There's some situations, like let's say you're a VA and you're capped at 510 in LA County, 510,400. And anything over that, you're going to bring in cash. Well, if the property is going to lease appraise at that, then just remove your appraisal contingency. Don't need it. It doesn't matter, because you're going to be bringing in the cash difference no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to really think about your situation and think, do we really need this appraisal contingency? Can we just remove it all together? Because if you can remove it because you're bringing in cash, you're better off. If you're putting 20% down and you could get approved for a 10% down loan, you're better off putting the 20%, removing an appraisal contingency, and then if you've got to drop to a 10% loan to get the deal done, get it done. So think about your situation, talk to your agent, see if you can remove that appraisal contingency. When you're talking about the inspection contingency, I don't want to give up any, tricks up the sleeve or anything like that, but, Troy and I have been known in the past a couple times to remove an inspection contingency. The deposit doesn't have to go to escrow for 3 days. We've got an inspector in there on day 0. We get that acceptance, we get that inspector in there, and then we know, are they willing to move forward? Then the deposit goes in. If they're not willing to go forward, oops, sorry, ain't going to happen, and they walk. So because liquidated damages provision signed, it says what is at risk is your deposit up to what has actually been deposited in escrow. So $0 in there, then you can do that kind of stuff. So we try not to play, games, because it ends up backfiring on us as agents and hurts all of our clients in the long term. But if you're in that position and you got to go head to head with an a quasi all cash offer, an all cash offer, there are some tricks. So you need to think, can you pull it off? Do you have an inspector who can get in there that fast? And you really need to look at that, contingency. And those are the two that agents care the most about and want to shorten: inspection and the appraisal.
And that's what a seller cares about. So
Yes.
the first step here, there's 3 different steps that I'm going to go over tonight. One is the offer itself. So those are the things that a seller looks in the offer. The second thing is going to be the lender, and the third is going to be the agent. So how can a lender really turn the tide and get your offer accepted? The lender obviously gives an approval letter. Yep. That's not enough, guys.
Nope.
That's not enough whatsoever. What is important, next slide, Ryan. What's important is after you submit that offer, the lender call and confirm the buyer's credit worthiness. So important. So important. I list homes, Ryan lists homes. When I hear a lender call, after the agent calls and he tries to tell me, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced cheese. I get it. I understand. I like your resume. You sell a lot of homes. I understand. But you're not the one making a decision whether they're getting a loan. It's the lender. So when the lender calls behind that, then I can quiz the lender and say, okay, Mr. Lender, you're saying this guy is completely qualified. Well, have you gotten a few things from him, such as all the income and asset documents? Have you reviewed all those income and asset documents? And more importantly, next slide, Ryan, is do I have an underwritten approval? Guys, not just an approval. This is very, very important.
It is very important.
Right? An approval just means that either the buyer's given just some documents to the loan officer and they might have looked at it. That's not good enough. That will never get a buyer a loan. What gets a buyer a loan is an underwritten approval. That means all income documents, all asset documents, and all the DTI, everything is being submitted into an underwriter who then takes a look at it and then makes a decision. They are approved for a loan. That's what I want to hear on the other end, and that's what I want to give as a buyer's agent to the selling agent, saying, hey, look at this. All I need to close this loan is appraisal and just some updated information about my client, such as paycheck stubs, a verification of employment, and then I just need some escrow, and I can close this. Yes. And I have to say, I just closed one. I mean, I had
it was like a 2-week deal.
It was a 14-day deal, and the agent, I just had a really hard time with them at the very beginning. There's a lot going on, but ultimately he accepted our offer because we gave a 14-day escrow. Actually, it was 15-day escrow written, and we closed it in 14 days. Guys, that is so important. Why? It was an underwritten approval. It wasn't starting from scratch. It wasn't just, I got some paperwork. I didn't get all paperwork. No. If you want your offer accepted, you want your offer looked at in this market, you need to have an underwritten approval, and you need to demand that from your lender.
Yeah.
I want an underwritten approval. What is the chances? It doesn't matter if I don't have an address. I want an underwriter to look at this and stamp it and say, yep, they can get a loan. And to be announced is the address property and the address, appraisal, yeah. Right?
And that's a great point. Just kind of reiterate what the levels are of approvals here. So you've got a pre-qualification. That's where, the lender goes into the bathroom, pulls out some toilet paper and writes like, oh, I've pre-qualified this person.
Based on their looks.
Yeah, based on what they told me was going on. Then you've got a pre-approval where they've looked at some of the documentation, maybe a little, maybe all of it. They've actually seen the tax returns. They've seen what you've written off, things like that. So you've got the pre-approval. You've got pre-qual, it's toilet paper. You've got a pre-approval, which is a little bit nicer because they've actually looked at some stuff. Then you've got what you want to submit. Minimum you want to submit with your offer nowadays is the DU. That's the desktop underwriting where they went ahead, they put it in the computer. It has all of the findings. It shows the weaknesses of the client, it shows what their debt to income ratio is, all of that. Shows strengths, weaknesses, and then what Troy's talking about is pull the trigger on that DU, submit that file. Like he's saying, to be determined on an address, have an underwriter look at it, and then you're going to get this underwritten approval. You're ready to go. So all you need to do is plug that property in and you are off to the races. The day one, you can order the appraisal when you have that acceptance, and it's going to shorten that time frame. And that listing agent knows you aren't messing around. You're going to close this property. So that's great tip right there, Troy.
Right.
That's absolutely.
So what's the third? The third key here is going to be the agent. It's literally your agent. And there's a few things that I want to go over about hiring a good agent, right? And I say this all the time. Ryan, next slide. Okay, to hire a good agent, you gotta be full time. You gotta be full time in this industry. You can't be flipping burgers and then on the weekends. I deal with this all the time. I'll deal with a listing agent. Can't get a hold of him 9 to 5 every day. Only get a hold of him at night, right? Because this is his second job. You want a professional. You want someone that's full time. They know the pulse of the market. They're there. They're there for you when you make phone calls. Communication, very important. Second, experience. Got to know it, right? The more you do, the more you actually close transactions, the more you experience. And out there, it's so important. I mean, go look up your agent on Zillow. All right, look at the Zillow reviews. Look how many homes he's closed. Don't take it for granted of what they say to you. Go check it out, right? That is so important. I say this all the time. I'm actually going and showing a house. And in the MLS and in Zillow or Trulia or any of them, the listing agent's phone number is not even in there. It's not even there. Well, I can't even call them.
The one I called today, this voicemail's not set up.
Right.
Like, I mean, how do I negotiate a deal with you? I'm sending you a blind email. I can't follow up that you've accepted it. I'm sending you a text. You're not responding. Can't communicate with you. Can't leave you a message. It's a joke. Absolute joke.
And we say this is because these are the people who are handling 1,000, 10,000, 15,000. $50,000 of your money out there.
Yeah, this is your largest asset.
And you're gonna and people just believe what anyone says. And I said this, I gave this number last week to both of I wasn't here last week, but Roxy and Ryan. What I heard, the National Association of Realtors came out and said that 66% of all sellers pick only the first agent they talk to. They don't even talk to a second or third. They just pick the first person they see. That's why they get
Taking advantage of.
You're taking advantage of.
And
I don't want to say
bad
ripped off, but I mean
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
advantage of.
Posed.
So, again, full-time agent understands the market. Those are all really, really important. So how does all this
Well,
information
and let me go back to understanding the market.
Okay.
And this is the thing. When we started this whole thing, I just said listen to your agent. So make sure your agent's good. But when you've got a good agent, you just got to listen to them. End of the day, how many homes have you seen today? How many homes have you shown and seen this week, this month, this year? In your career. End of the day, you need to listen to your agent. If they're a full-time agent, if they've got experience, you need to listen to them. The market's moving fast. And when they say, hey, based on comps, based on what's going on in this neighborhood, what's, going on in the market overall, you need to be, submitting your offer here. If you want to then start low, just expect to get thrown in the trash pile. You're wasting your time. You're wasting the agent's time. Don't get your hopes up, So you need to understand that if you're dealing with an experienced professional, you really need to listen to them and you need to take their cues.
All right. So, I put this really, really important communication with the listing agent. So as a buyer's agent, I'm representing you. And one of the most important things is talking to the listing agent. Pick the phone up, make that call. Now, as we just discussed a minute ago, there are some listing agents I can't even get a hold of. But you know what I'll do? It's not their information's on the MLS, but I'll go and just search them on the internet, or what I'll do is I'll look them up, in other different fashions. I'll talk to my title reps. I want to get a hold of them. And that's actually helped me out on several occasions.
Yeah.
As somebody hides under a rock, when you get a hold of them and talk to them, that communication immediately puts you at the top of the pile. Even if they have 4 or 5 offers, they go, okay, this guy can close it. This guy actually tracked me down, and he cared enough about his client to actually do those steps to find me and to go over my offer with go over the offer with them. Yeah. So communication with the listing agent, it's key on the buyer side. Second of all is knowing the seller's motivation. So I'm asking those questions. I have a buyer right now. He goes, why are they selling? He asks me every single property. Why are they selling? Why are they selling? Why are they selling? Well, I think some of it has to do with they want to make sure there's no death in the house. They want to make sure that there's been no major injuries or no problems with the house. They're not leaving the house because there's some dramatically happened in their life. But for us, we want to know the seller's motivation. If I walk into an empty house, I know the seller's motivation here is typically sell it fast. So I'm going to write an offer that's actually going to be 21 days, 24 days at the very most. Why? Because in one hand, I have a client with money, and on the other hand, I have that approval, underwritten approval that's going to get me to the 21-day mark ASAP. And then I'm going to communicate that with the seller's agent / listing agent, and I'm going to tell them, these are the things that I have that I'm going to close this deal, and you are going to look good in front of your seller, and we're going to get this transaction done.
Great point.
Offer submitted. Ryan, go over offer submitted. This is real
so
important.
I do a couple things. One is, in the body of the email, I lay out all of the strengths of our offer and my client. And then I tell them what's being submitted. It needs to be all of this. So obviously you have your purchase agreement and any, FHA, VA addendums, things like that. Proof of funds. So you guys need to make sure the market's hot. If you're getting gift funds, you're going to need to show a statement from where those gift funds are coming from and they're seasoned for your lender anyways. You need to have that over to your agent. So your agent should have your proof of funds. So if you're coming in with a down payment, you need to have a statement showing where that money is coming from. And if you're getting gift funds, you need a statement where that money is coming from. Right now, a letter stating that, the lender's seen the gift funds and they're good for it, it ain't cutting it. You got to show them statements. So if it's coming from mom and dad, we need mom and dad's statement.
And I want to go over this one other thing, and it's so important. Just add it up, okay? If I take my down payment plus 2 to 2.5% for closing costs, whatever that number is, the proof of funds has to be greater than that.
Yeah, I'm dealing with one right now. I'm like, you guys are giving me a couple grand less. Like, it's just coming up short. Like, I need more. I need more to make this work. So, just make sure you've got that ready. Before you go and search for a home, have all of this ready. The lender should have already looked at it, shoot it over to your agent. It makes everything easier because when you find that home you like, you're going to be on a time crunch to get the offer in and have it look thorough and stand out amongst the rest. The other thing, is that pre-approval letter. So we're talking pre-approval here, but really you need the DU, that desktop underwriting software. And like Troy's saying, in this hot market, you want a fully underwritten approval. And you need to have that that lender, call the agent behind it and say, hey, I just want to make sure that you understand that this offer is a little different from the rest. This is a fully underwritten approval. It's not a pre-qual, not a pre-approval, not a DU. We've actually had an underwriter take the time in this hot market where you got to remember refinances are through the roof as well. So underwriter's time is precious, and the fact that you've been able to get in that line and get it looked at is huge. So if you can get all of those things, you're going to stand out. And then the fourth thing that I'm absolutely putting out there right now is the crybaby letter. I've called it different things in the past, the client letter, this and that, but you got to whine a little bit. You got to, try and pull at those heartstrings, and, really more than anything, you don't want to say how despondent you are and frustrated with the home buying purchase. You want to say why this is the house, and why you have an attachment to it. Something fun about yourself. They really do want to know a little about the person, buying it for fun. What do you do for work? And then what is it about this house that really stands out? If you've got all four of those things, then you've got a complete offer, and an agent's going to take it.
Right. I mean, that's all good points. These are all the things that you should demand from your agent to have with your offer, and to understand the whole process to get your offer accepted. Again, this is a seller's market, and there's multiple offers on all properties. These are the things that can make your offer stand out and have a successful experience when putting offers in on homes.
Yep.
So I want to get a couple shout outs here.
I was going to say, we kind of blew through shout outs.
Yeah.
What do you got over there?
I got Erica. How's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. We have Lisa Yang. Thank you very much.
What's
as
up?
well.
I see Lisa over here too.
Oh, Karen Singh. Quick question: is a mortgage broker allowed to charge underwriting fees despite on a lender comp plan? Well, we'll have actually Min, our mortgage man, the mortgage man, answer that for you, Karen. I'll definitely I'll shoot something over to him. Chris says, what's the difference between a desktop underwriting approval and a human underwriting approval? And then he comes back, and right after that, he comes back and says, oh, great. Thank you for answering my question. Susanna says, how do you shop a loan for the best deal? Do you have to get an underwritten approval from each lender? Absolutely not, because you're shopping it. You're not at the point of ready to take that step. Now, if you're in escrow, if you're going to go out and look for homes, you need to already have shopped, let's say, different lenders and different rates in different scenarios, finding the best lender to suit your needs. So the second that you get your offer accepted, or you write an offer, that lender is dedicated and they are just loyal to you, and they're going to go after it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You nailed it. It's not all about rate. It's about loan programs. Depending on your scenario, you might not be able to just walk into a Wells Fargo. You might not want to go to a broker. You might want to not go to a direct lender. So you need to have those contact with the right lender who can get you in the right spot, that's got the right programs for you, where you're going to get the best rate and be able to have access to a loan. I had a client the other day. His dad walked into Chase. He got $900,000 in equity in his house. He just wants to pull out a HELOC of $25,000, and they won't do it. Wells won't. Chase won't. B of A won't. I'm like, he's going to the wrong spot. So you need to go somewhere who's going to be able to get that loan done for you. Wrong spot. So you figure out who can get the loan done. You get a loan estimate. You get a quote, right? And that's when you shop it up front. Shop it up front. When you finally get that offer accepted, you should have narrowed that down to the closest, let's say, 2 lenders. And then you just reach back out to them and say, hey, Joe, I'm in escrow, getting ready to move forward. Can you give me, one more rate, quote today? Because we know that rates change. They go up, they go down. And, one lender that was lowest 3 weeks ago isn't going to be the lowest today necessarily. So when you finally get that property locked up, you've got a 24-hour period to figure it out. Do not delay. We already have delays and appraisals and other things going on right now. You need to be able to pull the trigger like Troy's talking about. So do your due diligence up front. know who your front runners are, and then when you get your offer accepted, then you go back to them and get a up-to-date date down on that rate, and boom, you're ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah. So Susanna, if I go one step further and I'm in escrow and I'm still kind of wishy-washy about what what lender I'm going to go with, that is almost the kill switch for the seller.
Yeah.
He wants to know you've already made that decision and they're going 100% forward and getting that loan done and going and crossing that finish line. If you try to change your lender while you're in escrow, a week in escrow, you look like a very weak buyer, and now they're less likely to give you any kind of,
I don't care if you got a half rate better somewhere else all of a sudden, they think the worst. And they're going to think,
you're having a problem
they're
getting
having
a loan.
a problem with their loan, and now they're going somewhere else. They're saying it's for a better rate, but they're worried about you. Red flags just go popping up, bling, 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 bling. And that's absolutely what they do. They drop you. They're going to just go on to the next one. There are too many offers out there right now. And while they wasted time for that week or 2 weeks, price probably that home went up, like Troy's saying.
Right. So, Erica, thank you again for jumping in and watching us. Dad, I appreciate that as well.
Oh, what's up?
Thank you very much. What do you got there for me, Ryan?
Yeah, so Lisa Yang was over here too. Roxy said, what's up? Busy. So looking forward to seeing you on Thursday night. And then Rudy was just saying, congratulations, brother. I know it's a lot of hard work. Thanks for sharing on Ryan's family's home. And then he just said hello.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Susanna. I mean, I hope we got the information for you. Thank you very much for actually giving us a comment. So everybody out there, again, you have plenty of things to do on Tuesday night. We want to make sure we get the content that you can understand and absolutely can empower you when you're out there looking at homes, whether it be on the lending side or the real estate side. We want to give you all the information to be having tonight, at least, successful experience and to get your loan and your offer accepted.
And you know what? Just keep your head up. It's tough out there right now. It's tough in the trenches. You just got to keep plugging away. Don't let your emotions, get overrun and give up. We see it, year in, year out. I don't care if the market's hot or not, super hot like it is now. People they get frustrated after a couple, of their offers not getting accepted. You need to learn from it. You need to see the market's really as hot as it is. What are you doing wrong? You need to question it. What could we have done different? You just need to go out there and find the next home. The right one's out there for you. You will get the right home. It'll be amazing. Be happy you did it. And, every year you're going to look back and be happier you're that much further into that mortgage and building equity and, have that sense of pride in home. So, don't get discouraged. Keep moving forward. You will get the right place.
Well, we'll kind of, end where we began. It was that video of one of my clients actually who went through the escrow process, went through the entire process, the home purchasing process. And I really love, that testimonial. The last thing he says is, guys, you just got to jump in. You got to jump in, and you got to be diligent. Just stay there until you get that house that you've always dreamed of. Check it off the bucket list.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well,
all right.
Well, guys, thank you very much again for joining us. Thursday night's going to be Roxy on our Spanish station, our Spanish Facebook, and then come back and see us on Friday at 2 p.m. Deal of the week, the best deal that we see out there in the market as we peruse our MLSs. Last week was fantastic. I mean, a lot of people just got and called us and said, hey, we want to take a look at that house. It sold in seconds. Seconds. It just was gone. In fact, the week before, kind of funny, I go over how hot that was. Ryan actually had it all prepared. He went live. We both went live. And what happened? It was sold while we were live.
It was sold from me walking from this room into this room. What
happened?
What happened?
It was sold that quickly. It was that's how crazy that it was. So
yeah, and I just I do want to reiterate just one more time. If you guys have somebody out there who speaks Spanish that please, forward them over. Los Horrores de la Casa. Roxy does a great job. I mean, I see stuff popping up all the time in the news about underserved communities and home ownership rates and community. It's on a good upswing. But end of the day, they need this information as well as we all do. So financial literacy just across the board, it's not getting taught in high school. It's not getting taught in schools. And, people just don't know this information. So we want to make sure we're getting out there to as many people as possible. So if you know somebody who does speak Spanish that would feel more comfortable in that format, please forward it to them, share it to them. She does a great job of breaking it down. Actually using pure Spanish for some of the escrow and those other things. You don't hear the Spanglish coming out. So I always just love that. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Peace and God bless.
Be safe.